Welcome to the Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning in to the podcast, welcome and thank you for tuning in. On this podcast, I talk about issues that happen within the Black community. Not only do I discuss them, but hopefully some resolution, food for thought, advice, you name it. Okay, so I wanted to jump into my topic of discussion, and that's don't call me a minority. Okay. Um, I want to start off by talking about Johann Frederick Blumenbach. Okay. So he's the guy that in 1779 he divided the races into five, the human race into five races, right? So the racial stick, and so they did all sorts of experiences on the eyes, organs, the brain, the skeleton, everything, and even to this day, they separate everyone that's non-white as a minority, and the root word of minority is minor. And minor means insignificant. It means small, minor. Okay? And then you have majority. And so majority refers to everyone that's Caucasian, okay? So that's major. Major means big, significant, and large, okay? And a lot of white people will throw the excuse, well, there's more white people. And I'm like, well, if you're throwing that excuse, then there's more non white people than there are a total of white people. If we're classifying and grouping everybody, as, the minority, I mean, when you're talking about, Pacific Islanders, Native Americans, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, if everyone that has melanin, and they're a piece of melanin, is considered a minority. That would definitely be more that's more people, more of a population than there are the total of white people. But and another thing is, if anyone mentions the color white, and you start describing them with those adjectives, they get offended. But but when they can talk about who's black and who's this and who's that all day long, and that's not a problem. But then when you mention it, they'll say, oh, you're being too sensitive. It's not really a big deal. And I'm like, okay, if it's not really a big deal, and it just seems like a lot of gaslighting, because if it's not a big deal, race, then why are we still checking what race you are on applications? Um, they'll say it's for what, consensus purposes, but no, I've even rejected putting my race down, and they've got offended. So they were upset because I guess they felt like I wasn't conforming or complying. But it says that you have an option. Why is it always the first black this or the first black president? So they say that race isn't a big deal, but it is. It definitely is, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be so emphasized in the news. This black person did this. This black person is the first swimmer. It can't just be an American. They have to let you know that you're separate, from what they consider what the majority is. I've heard, white people in my face reference blacks as minorities, and I cut them short ASAP. Like, I'm not a minority. There's nothing minor about me. And I encourage other black people, no. I don't care if the percentage of blacks in this country is 11%, 13%. There's nothing minor about me. And there's nothing minor about you either. Okay? So, if we want that change, like I said, definitely have to start, because you're not going to get away with calling them minor. You know, they're going to let you know ASAP, and I'm letting you know. I'm letting them know that no, there's nothing minor or insignificant about me. And don't just play it off like you're talking about statistics here. Because the way, blacks have been treated in this country is minor, is small. They downplay, the system downplays everything, all the injustices that have been displayed toward black people, and that's their excuse for doing so by calling us minorities. immigrants, and I can't get over that either. Everyone is considered an immigrant that comes to this country, but white people. And, I challenge them on that. Like, they call them settlers, though. So the ones that landed here are settlers, but that's a lie because there were a whole group of people called the Native Americans that lived here before they didn't find anything, because to discover something is something that is found that has never been found by anyone else before. You discover treasure. That means someone, first found it. So that's a lie. So how come they're not considered immigrants when they come over here? I just think that's pretty odd. They call them settlers. Um, to take away from the fact that they're not from here either. And then my history teacher, um, a long time ago, he told me, don't call Indians Indians, the ones that are from America, because Indians are from India. Okay, they don't like to call them Native Americans because Native means first, pretty much original. Okay, so they're the true Native Americans of this country, are the Native Americans. They're not Indians. Okay, they're not Indians. So I definitely want to leave you all with that. Don't buy into that hype that you're a minority. Okay, you're very significant. Okay, that racial thing, that racial stick. Like I said, they want to say that it's petty for us to bring it up, but this whole system is set off of check one box if you're black, check this box, if you're this or that. And I just don't agree with that. So definitely never call yourself a minority. Okay, and I want to leave you with that. You're very significant. All right. So it's been a pleasure talking with you all. Um, if you would like to reach me, have any questions or suggestions, you can reach me at the truth with Trinity at gmail.com. Peace and blessings.